G'day, and welcome to Steam Cleaning. I'm at Hertz when I PvP, and I have over 700 plus games on Steam. Let's review some, shall we? What is Steam Cleaning? Steam Cleaning is when I realize I have too many games. Many of them I won't ever play. So I thought I might try and play at least most of them and give a general recommendation of the game for the few hours I play of them. The scale is a 1 to 5 on how likely I would be to recommend the game to someone else. Dishonored is a first-person stealth action game set in the fictional city of Dunwall, a steampunk-inspired world which is thrown into chaos after the assassination of the Empress of Dunwall, and your subsequent framing for the murder. You must slowly rebuild yourself by teaming up with sympathizers to the Empress and attempt to overthrow the corrupt government that has sprung up in the absence. In doing so, rescuing the Empress's daughter and removing key members linked to the assassination and your framing. You play as Corvo Otano, the previous bodyguard to the Empress, and must decide on how we will shape the future of Dunwall, either through mercy or through blood. When I originally played this game way back when, I was very frustrated with how the stealth was handled, but finally managed to complete the game and found myself learning and enjoying the experience. Finally understanding the AI and one of the ways that the game was meant to be played. The idea of killing and being spotted would create chaos for the world was an interesting one and made a pacifist run very difficult. The combat is straightforward with parrying attacks and quickly striking while your opponent is open. On the other hand, playing stealth by knocking out others and removing bodies from view became quite easily the hardest challenge in the game, forcing me to save scum through entire areas, making sure I didn't make a single mistake along the way. Which was sometimes difficult, as you would not know until the very end where you were graded on the level of chaos you created, killing or being spotted making chaos increasing dramatically. Although the game is barely a decade old, its graphics aren't too dated but aren't anything special, and while it won't be looked back on for being an old game that holds up graphically, I would say it holds up with its story and its decently well-tuned stealth assassination gameplay. I give this game a 4, and would recommend this game to anyone who enjoys stealth fighting games. Bad North is a brutal real-time strategy game in which you command knights who are charged with the protection of small islands from Viking invaders, whose goal is to destroy everything on those individual islands. Each island has you commanding 4 different squadrons of knights, each with their own specialization. The archer is a ranged unit, great at removing enemies at a distance, using the cliff tops as not only protection but a staging ground to launch volleys of arrows onto a position, forcing enemies to scatter or walk into other knights, like the pikemen. This group trades their mobility for dealing high damage, taking a singular position to poke at enemies that walk close enough to them. While they are unable to move and attack, they have the ability to charge with their spears, skewering all those in their path. The other class are the infantry, carrying swords and shields, remaining protected from a lot of enemy attacks, and even the attacks of ranged enemies. While they lack the damage of the other classes, they have a great ability to jump from the tops of cliffs to plunge their swords into unsuspecting enemies. Each of these knights work well with one another, creating unique strategies to deal with ever-growing and ever-varying types of enemies who seek to burn what you defend. When I was playing this game for the first time, I was unsure by its simple art style and basic control scheme. However, despite those hang-ups, I found myself rather engaged by the game. Its background music giving an eerie feeling as the longboat slowly drift closer to the island, your eyes darting to the edges of the fog waiting for the peak of your enemies. It gave a rather surprising sense of dread waiting to be attacked, which I felt helped me in my singular playthrough of the game. Within the hour I found it very immersive. It may also seem deceptively easy, which does not take long before the basic Viking becomes a rather panic-inducing nuisance, especially the heavy crossbowman. The only thing I found that could be a true criticism was the length of each playthrough may be seen short. But even then, I would say the game is replayable enough to warrant the short run. Almost as if you could treat it like a roguelike. I would highly recommend this game to lovers of strategy and anyone who enjoys a fun, casual RTS. It's a 5 out of 5 for me. Enjoy at your leisure. Sid Meier's Civilization V is a turn-based 4X strategy game, which is a type of strategy game where you command a nation with the tasks to exploring the natural world around you. finding new continents, other civilizations, and also to find areas to expand your controlled territory, pushing your cities to occupy areas that your opponents have either missed or found not strategically worthwhile. Places in which you can exploit the weakness and lack of preparation of your opponents, politely, or not so politely, making alliances, or in most cases, exterminating them, which means you remove another civilization from history. You can achieve this by learning technologies, social policies, creating production, and using this to create a military to rival your opponents. But this is not the only way to win. Other than domination, you can win with science.
Victory.
By being one of the first to space, you may achieve a win with your civilization's vast knowledge. Or you may decide that you wish to win based on your culture, making your countries the best in the world and making others jealous that they aren't in yours. Or you can take an even more passive victory with diplomacy, creating bonds with the other nations and creating a united nation strong and built not to only to strengthen their goals, but the goals of the world. Or you can win with a score victory, mostly achieved by having the biggest civilization with more people, wonders from around the world and cities to spread your influence to the other nations. Each of these facets can't be undertaken alone. If you wish to win with culture, you must also remember to ascertain new forms of culture by researching the technologies that would benefit your cultural growth. Each avenue of pushing your country closer to victory inadvertently helps another. Not only do the choices you make matter on the growth of your civilization, so too does the civilization you choose to be, each with bonuses to specific styles of playing and somewhat outlined victories.
I don't need you, my friend.
When I first played this game, I was playing Hot Seat with my dad, working together to help each other. I found myself happy to play this game after such a long time, enjoying the simplicity and almost non-intensive gameplay. Just being a complicated but ultimately straightforward game made learning it easy, even if it's as simple as deciding what your city produces today, or even what you research. It may seem a lot, but it's always been about taking a step and then the next. It wasn't some grand strategy that even the backstory of your infantry units made the difference in which role they would be best suited for. It just made the complicated less, but the fun more. And I think less is more works for the Civilization games. And despite this being a previous released version of the franchise, I would wholeheartedly recommend this game for anyone looking to get into the 4X strategy games as a sort of starting point. 4 out of 5. Hello Neighbor is a stealth horror game in which you happen to watch your strange neighbor dealing with a disturbance in his basement, curiosity taking the better of you as you decide to attempt to break in, dodging his patrols and keen hearing, in which case he attempts to find and capture you. Each time you eventually learn how to pass him and delve deeper into his basement, finding the secret to which he hides, solving puzzles and traversing around your neighbor's ever-growing and ever-challenging traps, intended to catch you and keep you from finding his secrets.
Yeah. This ball does not want to behave. No.
Although the summary is much shorter than my previous ones, I will say that it isn't without reason. This game sold itself as a stealth horror puzzle game, but I found it best described as a sort of escape room with a bad guy. Now in concept, this does sound somewhat enticing, as escape rooms have a certain charm for me, but this game isn't it. I was at many a point frustrated in trying to solve puzzles, which I later learned were just red herrings that seemed to do something without them actually doing anything. Like the sentence. It seems like I'm going somewhere, but I'm just saying that red herrings are annoying. Now this wouldn't be such a problem when the game is filled with puzzles, but the amount of things you can interact with that don't help or do anything is a wide margin that seems almost sinister. I feel this game does have a fun art style though. It looks almost as if I'm walking through an early 2000 cartoon. The disproportionate shaped houses and items throughout the house lends to this style well. I don't feel I will come back to play this game again, but I can say that what it has to offer would be an interesting concept for those who would find it interesting. I do also hope with Hello Neighbor 2 released that it is somewhat improved on some of the less enjoyable aspects of the game, but also improving on what was already good. A 3 out of 5 on my recommendations. Thank you for listening to me, rambling about 4 random games I played. I'll be continuing this series as a YouTube series, but I also stream me playing the games for the first time on my Twitch, link in the description. And I will be posting more updates on my Discord and Twitter, go check those out. And again, thanks for watching, and remember, next round's on me.